So it's the 120 grow out. Time to get it sorted. Let's get it scaped and get some sand in. As we look to scape the 120, what we're going to do is we're going to put some sand in there today to get it going and get the ball moving. So what I wanted to do was just give you a tutorial today of how I add sand. We do regular sort of stone to sand changeovers. We do bare bottoms, we do full scapes, and what we're going to be doing today is adding the sand with water still in the tank. We've got Galaxy Raspberry in there at the moment growing out. Now this was being a grow out tank to get them to a decent size, at least an inch, before they went into the 1,000 litre discus tank. We ordered these as adults. They turned up no more than 5 mil in size, literally half a finger now. The longer they've been growing out, the more attached I've got to them, so I thought, let's give them a home. So the main thing we're going to be doing today, like I said before, is we're going to put some sand into here. I'm going to show you guys how you can add sand to the tank if you've got water in there. A couple of techniques of how to rinse it, and also how I would add sand, whether it be a large or small tank. Pretty much do it the exact same way. There's a couple techniques out there and different ways you can do it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the most effective way I find. But first of all, one thing I always recommend is let's wash that sand. Nice and simple. Bucket, sand, hose. Hose goes in the bottom. Nice and easy. Sand goes in. Right. So you've got the hose right at the bottom of the sand. Now there is another way you can do it. You can put the sand in a pillowcase, hang the pillow, and then run the hose through the top. But I found there's just a much easier way, and also a way where you can go and sit down in between. Turn your tap on. You're just going to let that water flush the sand out from the bottom. And what will start to happen is the water will raise to the top, and any of the sort of dust on the sand will overflow out the top of the bucket and rinse away. Okay, so you can see the dust coming off the sand. It's just the stuff, like I said, when you do a sand changeover or you put sand in the tank, it's just stuff you're going to get rid of prior. You know, so you don't have to worry 24, 48 hours after putting the sand in. And what will start to happen is the water will start to pour over and flush the murkiness away. Every now and then get your hands in there, give it a shuffle. Don't shuffle it too much or your sand will start pouring over the top as well, but you can see like that water isn't clear, so that would have been in the tank when I added the sand. Okay, so the main reason always will wash sand is it does one of two things. One, it does half the job for you in regard, or half the job that your filter then doesn't have to do. So what you can then do is, if you're doing the job in the morning, you're putting the sand in, all that dust that's in the sand, all the grit and the small particles that would kick up into the water, you know, you won't have any of that. You'll be able to enjoy the tank straight away, and it's also just a little bit less of a stress on your filter, and obviously your filter picking up all them bits and all them parts. So first thing I always do, I will always, if you've got an external filter or a canister, just like I've got running on this one, I will always keep the filter running. If you can turn it down a little bit, or halfway, just so it's not blowing the sand everywhere. But what you can then also do is you can use the filter to do half the job for you of picking up the muck. Especially if you're taking stones out, you'll see as soon as you lift that first line of stones out, or that first cup, we tend to use a dustpan. Obviously you can just scoop it straight out, but you'll see how much waste kicks up, and the filter can help do that job. It can help collect that stuff for you. Right, so a couple tools that I'm using today. Obviously you got your tank. I don't know if you can see the guys in there swimming around in the background. These guys are really starting to come through now. Like the colours and the patterns are coming through. Guys, if you haven't seen a Galaxy Raspberry, have a quick Google search. You know, I've tried getting photos of these guys, but they're just still a little bit too small, a little bit too quick. If I can zoom in, you can kind of see them. You know, and like I said, they're really starting. This is what I've got attached to them. Like I said, they were going to go into the main tank, but the more they're coming through and the personalities are starting to come through, I keep getting more and more attached. Anyway, so Couple tools for today. Siphon, like I said, we're just going to remove enough of the water just to fill up a 30 litre bucket. Vacuum, I'll show you what that's for in a second. Net, obviously, just to catch the fish. Jug, okay, if you've got a smaller tank like this, you can usually just use a teacup if your wife or your partner's not going to moan at you about it. I usually get moaned at daily. A little bit of prime, again, I'll explain, even though I use HMA filters and nitrate resins, I'm going to explain just what that's for. And then we've got some JBL sand. Just it's called it's the white sand, but it's more of a lighter, natural look. All right, so let's get things started. Like I said, I'm going to keep the filter running. And all I'm going to do is just get a bit of water siphoned out. It's going to do enough water just to get about 30 litres worth in here, just so I can pop the fish in. Okay, so final few bits have been vacuumed out, giving the basin clean, got some of that brown algae off. Quick final vacuum, pick up any last little bits I can. Let's add some sand. Right, so adding the sand. Jug. What we're going to do is we're going to scoop the sand out of the bucket, and we're going to put the sand in, probably scoop up enough to go about halfway, no more than 3/4 of the way. We're then going to lower it down into the tank, upright, let the water slowly fall into the jug. What that would then do is it would just flatten down the sand, it would keep it submerged in the jug itself. Or like I said, if you're using a cup, you can use a cup as well. And then from there, what you can pretty much do is pour it into the bottom of the tank, and you control where you're pouring it, where you're building up sand, and it's nice and controlled. So I'll show you now. A scoop of sand, get it in there. Okay, so like I said, you still just got enough to let some of that water out. And you're about halfway. Try not to fall off my chair, I'll show you. Okay, nice and easy. So like I said, just let the water start to slowly pour over the top of the jug, just so it flattens down the sand, nice and slow. Okay, so what you now got is you've got a jug full of sand, and it's submerged. Now come on the inside, so it looks like that. Nice and easy. Just pour it where you need it to go. Nice and controlled as well. Okay, so one more quick demonstration before I take you on to the next bit, just ways that you can help clear the water up. Little things you can do with a filter just to help in between. So again, same thing, half a jug of sand, let the water drop in, let the sand settle. Okay, lost a little bit there. As you can see, completely submerged, it's not going anywhere. Nice and easy. So there, sand's in. Like I said earlier, because we rinsed the sand thoroughly, pretty much straight away. It's not crystal or gin clear, but give it sort of 2 or 3 hours, 1 or 2 turnovers, and it will be nice and clear. Like I said, there is other ways that you can do it. You've got a way where you can put the sand into, say, a water bottle, Coke bottle, turn the bottle upside down. You can then squeeze the bottle to pour the sand out. You can take, if you've got the end of a siphon, 2 seconds. If you've got the end of a siphon, you can take this end off. Put the siphon down to the bottom of the tank, pour the sand in through the top. You know, it's another way you can do it, but again, you're still doing the same action anyway. You know, this is the way that I've always done it. It's nice and easy. You know, obviously, yeah, this is only a 2.5 foot by 2.5, or yeah, about 2.5 foot by 2 foot high. You know, but it's taken me all of about 2 minutes to get the sand in. There's a lot on the forums and the Facebook pages and the Facebook groups where people are talking about doing a stone to sand changeover, and can they take all the stones out at once? Yes, you can. Your filter that you're running on your tank should be able to handle the biological load anyway. You shouldn't be relying on the bacteria on your stones or on your substrate. One thing I do always recommend though is if you've got any sort of decor on there that is also going to be holding bacteria, get that out and keep it submerged in some tank water, keep the bacteria alive on there. Other than that, like I said, the waste, you know, like I said, there's people on the groups and the forums that will say do a quarter on one day, leave it a week, do another quarter, or do half and half over the space of 2-3 weeks. We've done this 100 times, especially stone to sand changeovers. You know, the stuff that's buried at the bottom of that stone is deteriorating and creating ammonia anyway. Whether it's down here or up in your water column or in your filter, it's still doing the exact same thing. It doesn't matter where it is. So, like I said, even with the customers we have done stone to sand changeovers for, we have always recommend still test your water, be safe, test it for a week or two after. But for the years I've been doing it, there's never ever been an issue. But there is also some way, obviously the last thing you don't want to do is you are going to obviously end up with a lot of waste that's going to kick up from the stones, so there is going to be a lot collected in your filter. So again, I'm just going to show you how to help clear that out and get your filter to give you a hand on the way. So using the filtration to help, before I started I rammed floss absolutely everywhere in here. So usually I only run it on the middle chamber. Ooh, making a bit of a mess, concrete floors, but it's all right. So that's already collected up quite a bit. Okay, so like I said, get some floss, just ram that in there, new floss in there. So that's already, you've taken out any of the waste that you were sort of kicking up when you're taking the stones out, any of the waste that you've sort of kicked up. Collect it up in the floss. There's another one I put in. So as you can see, look, it's collected up a lot of waste already. Again, load more floss in there like that. Okay, but like I said, one thing I would do if you're running a sumped filtration, get yourself an external canister just to run on the side. Bigger the better. Obviously, bigger the turnover, the more water you're going to turn over in between. A little bit more flow. Guys, ram it in there. You know, it doesn't restrict flow until it's blocked up, and then you should be replacing it anyways. So as mentioned earlier as well, using a bottle of prime. Like I said, I use HMA to do my water, but you're going to have untreated water from when you're rinsing the sand. So just at the beginning or midway through as you're adding the sand, just drop some water treatment in there, obviously just to deal with the untreated water. God, absolutely sweating balls in here, big time. It's so hot in here. Nice 25, 26 degree garage, lovely. So that's pretty much it. So just to recap, rinse your sand. When you are choosing your sand, make sure you're getting a high quality sand, especially if you've got a fish that's sensitive to water parameters. You know, yes, you can pick up 20 kilos of sand for about $4.99 or £5 off eBay. I only ever use the Unipack because natural white sand doesn't affect pH, and also the JBL stuff. So it's a real quality sand. So give it a good, really good rinse. And like I said, this was finished no more than 4 or 5 minutes ago, and already it's clear, and it's going to get even clearer than that as well. Look at it, half a scoop of sand in the jug, drop it down into the tank slowly, let the water overflow, then let the sand in the jug settle, and then drop it down, submerge it into the water and pour it out as I showed you through the video. The guys are back in there now. They are, ignore the fantastic plastic. Like I said, this is just the start. I wanted to show you guys how I did sand, how I put sand into a tank that already had water in. Hopefully I gave you a good demonstration. We're going to start to get this scaped over the next few weeks, and obviously I'll upload it and show you what. Got some wood soaking at the moment out in the garden. Got some plants coming from Reef Aquatics down in Bognor Regis, just put an order in for me. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to getting this finished. There's going to be lots coming up, things like maintenance tips, filtration issues, algae flow, gin clear water, crystal clear water. I want to take you guys through that of how I achieve it and what I do to my tanks, and just generally what I'm up to. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and until then, see you next time.